Okay, so I'm recording. So I'm not live in Facebook. I actually went live twice in Facebook today, but the volume was like way off. I was like screaming in one, and the other one, I don't know what happened to the video. So I'm gonna do this in Zoom and then post it in the group for us. So what am I talking about today? So today I'm talking about being through with the strain and the pain, and wanting to transform that into love and connection. Okay, but first I need to talk about and kind of just give you, I want to give you a diagram of what that looks like when that's missing, like what you might have now. And this is what I'm hearing from a lot of you as well, is that there's a lot of strain in that mother-daughter relationship. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, so what we've got is two women, mother, daughter, communicating, all right, on the phone. And one looks like she's defending herself. One looks like she's screaming. That's pretty much how we looked most of my life, right? My talking to my mom. But here's why we look this way. Okay. Here's why things were so strained. Because every time we talked, everything that we left undone or unsaid, or trauma, or hurts and all that stuff, like it piled up and it got in between us on the conversation. So for us, like food was a biggie, right? Like I was on Weight Watchers by the time I was 8. Okay. My goofy life choices were like an issue. Okay. Um, my, I mean, just like all kinds of stuff. It doesn't even matter what you call it. It's just like junk that is in between the two of you and is like triggers and all kinds of stuff as you are trying to have a conversation. Okay, so one of them was like the way well, I'm not going to say clean, the lack of cleaning that I did at my house, right? That was a big deal. And for everyone it's different, right? It's a different bunch of stuff, but what happens is it never gets less. Like it just keeps like piling up on top of each other, on top of the two of you, like, right? Here's a bunch of like childhood stuff, right? Oh, it keeps wanting to go over the couch. All right, it ate the couch. But anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so I kind of thought the couch was a cool image though, and especially it made sense. Our, you know, like I was always doing so much, and I had, you know, a lot of health issues and stuff. And so I made a decision early on, because I grew up in a household where everything had to be perfect, that I wasn't going to do that. So that was a lot of stuff that like got in the middle of our relationship, right? So this one's a video, but this one's good because she has a bunch of stuff, right? And like friends and like, I mean, all kinds of stuff like got in the way, right? So these two cannot get close because of all the stuff that's in the way. Okay. Let me bring her forward, right? Like they can't like get that love and connection, right? No matter what, because of all this stuff, right? That's constantly in the way. And it changes, it piles up. Some days it's easier than others. Some days there's so much of it that it's just like screaming and whatever, right? We experience it all. Like we could share it all with you, right? So what I did was create a process that worked for me to transform my relationship. And I've shared it with you guys a few times that like my mom wasn't going to change, right? So how was I going to transform the relationship? And I'll tell you this. So if you do the work, right, and you follow the steps that I used, you can transform the strain and the pain into deep love and connection. And I'll tell you this, love and connection is there. It's built into the relationship at some level. So we have to vet it out. We have to clean it up. We have to remold it, reshape it, change it, whatever is needed, right? So I promise you that if you work the process. So this would happen every time I got on a conversation with my mom. So like I dreaded answering her calls. She dreaded answering my calls. And there were times where we just didn't talk because there was so much in the middle, right? So let me explain my process, okay? And show you like what that's all about, right? So since I'm on here, I think I might just bring some of this up. Okay. So let me back over here and grab this. Oh, not that one. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Need any sound, but okay. So what I use, and I'll make this bigger. Whoop. And get rid of this. All right. And make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So what I call it is the 5-star method, right? To transform strain and pain into love and connection. Okay. So here's what I started with. Okay. Spring cleaning. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this photo. Okay, and these two women, right? So what I did is I cleaned out metaphorically all my closets, all my drawers, like all this stuff that was triggering me, triggering her that I knew of, right? And I just pulled it all out and like put it on a table. Okay, and I looked at it. Did it trigger me as I was doing it? Absolutely. Yes. Were there times that I got angry? Was it difficult? Yes, absolutely. Worth it. 100% worth it. Anything worth having, I think, is, take some oomph, take some staying power, and not willing to, walk away when it gets tough, right? Okay. So I looked at all of it, right? And I started to label it. Okay. So this was food issues. Okay. For example, this was like all this buying that she didn't think I had money for, right? Mismanaging my money, whatever. This was my dirty house. Okay. This was that I didn't take care of my car well or whatever, you know. This was, um, you know, all like my crazy husband choices, my crazy whatever. This was all the childhood blame, right? Okay. So I started to like label it all and kind of like organize it, right? And it's so funny because I was talking to my coach the other morning, and she was asking me, she said, okay, so tell me what your process is, right? So what you did, right? She's telling me you just like decided what you wanted out of the relationship and you like pictured it and created it, right? I said, absolutely not. I did not ever have a good relationship with her for 44 years of my life. So I couldn't like create what I wanted because I'd never had it, right? It's like, and I'm an artist, right? I'm creative and I paint and I do all that stuff, but that's not where I was at. That's not where I could start. So where I started was with this spring cleaning concept and pulling everything out of the drawers and the closets and under the bed and all of that stuff. And I just started like labeling it and looking at it. And, um, you know, there were points where I was able to like actually be in my mom's shoes and like literally like, you know, understand a little bit more from her perspective, right? And I think that that's key. Okay, so let's go back to this. Let's go back to the 5-star first. Oh, I keep pulling up the wrong one. It's getting busy around here. Okay, all kinds of cars and stuff. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Let me share this with you guys. Okay, so the next thing, right? S, spring cleaning. T, tools. So I needed tools. Okay, this is a one and done, like you're gonna, I don't know, magically work with me for a day, do a VIP day, and boom, your relationship is fixed and you never need to do anything, never need to maintain it. You'll never get hurt again, never get triggered. Like, no, it's a relationship. It's just like any other relationship. Like it takes work and it's continual, right? So so I had to have a set of tools that I could use when I was triggered, when I am triggered, when life happens, when things at work happen, when this like stuff, right? I needed a bag of tools. And part of that is my morning routine. So, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put some links in the bottom of the video in ways that you can work with me if you choose to. And there's actually some really good opportunities coming up, and you know, working through this process. Okay, so tools, right? Mindfulness, like art has opened doors that I never thought would be open, right? My mom and I have done art like retreats together. We've gone in her garage and like done art for like hours, just not even like talking, laughing, but making art, and the love and the connection that grew and has grown from that is off the chain, right? So art is always one of my go-tos. It opens up your creativity, it opens up your problem solving. There's a connection when you work with your hands and your brain together, and that to me is priceless. So that's one of the tools that I share, and that looks different for everyone, but it's something that is so crucial to me. And it is way cheaper than well, it can be, unless you're a mixed media artist like me and you like all the um, tools and all the mediums and all that stuff, but it's cheaper than a therapist in some cases. So, and when you work with me, I explain like kind of what that process is and what happens, but you can't hide anything from art ever. Like it comes out. So that is tools. Okay. So let's go back just with those two things, which would be like kind of like the communication part, or the starting. And so that like my mini course is going to cover just like a couple of the points of the star, and that's dealing with the communication side of it, right? So let's go back to this conversation and that communication piece. Okay, so what happens is when you start to pull all of this stuff out, okay, and get it out of the way, like you deal with it, right? And that's a process in itself, right? In dealing with it, okay. So what happens is, and I'll even get this out of the way, is you can start to move closer and really create that love and connection, right? Which you couldn't do before, right? Like you couldn't get that close because there was all of the junk and stuff and hurt and trauma and PTSD and you know, I do a lot of work with trauma and PTSD can pile on PTSD, can pile on PTSD, right? If it's not dealt with and it's not treated and so it can like pile up. Well, it's the same thing with all this stuff, right? So unless you are willing to deal with it and you take it on, it's not going to go anywhere. It just keeps like moving, shifting, piling on top of each other, building up more and more and creating more and more problems, right? So now you can start to have this love and connection. It's not fully there yet, right? She's still upset, one's still screaming, one's still defending herself. It's not perfect, but that's part of that process. All right, so let's go back to the 5 points on the star. Okay, so spring cleaning tools, right? ST and then A is attitude. Okay, so it's your attitude, your willingness, your openness, and also applying and figuring out and trying out the different tools. So if you get rocked or triggered or sent, you know, like in a horrible spin, you have some tools and you know what that attitude is that you're trying to get back to, so you can get back there much faster. Okay, so and honestly, just being part of this group, it speaks volumes about your attitude and your willingness. So I think you all have that for sure. Okay, so R is rinse and repeat, right? It takes practice. So when you work with me, there may be like practice dialogues, there may be practice confrontation, there may be like you have a conversation and then we come back and talk about it and then maybe take a different approach and try something else, right? It's not like a one size fits all. It's kind of like the Gerber daisy. They come in all different sizes, colors, shapes. So do the relationships. So do what's gone on in the relationships, right? So that's that. And then the 5 in the 5 stars, the 5 points, the F is forgive. And I didn't say forgiveness. I said forgive because it's got to be here and so internally and externally, right? We try to, you know, a lot of times hold on to stuff, right, that has like hurt us or and hold on to that anger and that frustration and not be willing to let it go and heal it on that other person's side because you think that that holding on to it is affecting them. It's not affecting them. It affects you, and it creates disease in you, and stress and strain and physical pain. uh, my mom could tell you, I could tell you of the physical pain just from our relationship, right? It's not just mental. It's a combination of things, right? So being willing to just like release that, right? And that's part of the tools and the attitude and all that stuff. But forgive, and forgive has to be an ongoing thing in all your relationships, right? In order to get that true, deep love and connection. Okay. One of the things that we work on is, you know, people like to be heard, right? Everyone wants to be heard. But when someone is gotten, like that's next level, right? That's their love and connection, like I said, is underlying there, and we're going to dig that out and vet that out. But that true deep love and connection is when somebody feels gotten, right? And so those are communication tools that we work on as well. So I've gone on with a lot tonight. It was super important to me. This work is at the heart of who I am. Okay, because I know that this core relationship affects every area of your life, every area. Your career, your lack of career, your money, your lack of money, your level of anger, your how you think about yourself, how you think about men, how you see bosses. I don't have enough time. You don't have enough time, right, to go through all of that, but it affects everything. That's why I am out to do this work and to help women heal these relationships, because I know how critical they are. So I see that you have 4 options. Here's what they are. You can absolutely stay in the group. It's free. Do nothing. And your relationship will probably get worse if you do nothing, right? Or, you know, you can try to like do some of this work on your own, right? That's an option. Like that's a valid choice. Totally valid. The second option is I am looking for 5 women and they're going to come from our group, okay, to work one-on-one and work through really all of this process. And that would be at no charge. So that's a project that I'm working on, and it'll be in exchange for testimonials, probably video testimonials. So that I'm going to put the link down below. If you're not going to do anything and you're just going to hang out, or you're okay with your relationship or whatever. And if you're good, please share like how you got there, right? Like, has it always been good? Did you work on it? Like that's always, I think that's always valid sharing. So if you want to share that in the group, we would love to hear it. Okay, so I'll put an application, a link for that application to work one-on-one with me down below the video. And then the next option is on June 17th, I'm going to do the mini course that I talked about with communication. So it's not all 5 points, but the course is $97. So, and you'll get some email support from me as well. So it's, the value is amazing, and you will start to release some of the strain and vet out some of that love and connection during that mini course. So that is June 17th. That link will be below. And then if you're like, oh, I know that I want a better relationship and I want to figure this out, and I don't want to do it on my own. I want to do it with somebody who's been there, who's done it, and who's had success doing it, and who continues to work on that relationship, right? Then that is my 4-month intensive, and I will put that link below. So that you would just, you'll also take the $97 course, like that'll be part of that 4-month intensive, but you would just bypass that process and go right into the 4-month intensive with me. And we work on all 5 points, and we do not stop until we transform the strain and the pain into that level of love and connection that you're looking for. And you may not know what that level is. Like I said, when I started, I didn't know what that level looked like. You could have asked me and I could have said, I hope she hugs me and she doesn't yell. Like that's, I mean, I just didn't know because I'd never had this level of relationship with her that I later found out was even possible. Right. Okay, so I will put those links below. If you have questions, obviously message me. I love you guys. I am so glad you're in the group. And like I said, this work is like who I am. And I am out to make this change in the world because when mothers and daughters are happy and empowered and in deep love and connection, like anything's possible. Absolutely anything. And women who are in love and connection do not hold their children hostage from their grandparents. They and they make different choices when you're in love and connection. And you have somebody that you can go to make those decisions. All right. So mwah, thank you for watching. Like I said, comment below, and I am so glad you're in the group, and welcome. If this is the first time you're hearing me live, so, or recorded now, I guess. But anyway, all right. Thank you.